Good evening and welcome to Greater Somerville for May 14th, 2013. I'm Cayenne Anderson. Tonight's topic, Somerville dog culture. With dog ownership on the rise in Somerville, how does our city stack up with others for dog-friendly rules and regulations, and what is being done to change that? On tonight's program, we'll find out about a local nonprofit's mission in making Somerville a better place for your four-legged friend, the new off-leash dog park initiatives going on at City Hall, and why you need to be in Union Square this Sunday, May 19th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for Some Dog's first annual Spring Fling that's going to be going on. So please join me in welcoming for his debut appearance here on Greater Somerville, Some Dog's Brian Davis, as well as our return guest, Alderman at Large, Dennis Sullivan. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, here we are. Fantastic. Callers, I'm not going to put the number down, but I think most of you know the number, but I'm going to repeat it. So if you want to call in, feel free to do so. 617-628-9876. You can do that after we get into it. We're going to just do a little bit of chitty chat here. So I have to tell you, I actually was going to bring my dog, Oreo, in. Because, you know, Oreo likes to be on camera about as much as I do, but he had to stay home because there's a little bit of an event going on here at the Scat TV, and it might have been a little crowded with the three of us here, three men and me. But anyway, yeah, I'm a big dog lover, so this is an exciting show for me. So Brian, we're going to just talk to you a little bit, find out a little bit about you. And you're not feeling well, so I appreciate you making the pilgrimage over here to the studio. So you've been in Somerville for 7 years.
Yes.
And you grew up volunteering all of your time in local animal shelters, so you've been an animal lover from the very beginning.
Started in Cub Scouts, yes.
Oh, in Cub Scouts, great,
Yes,
Scouts honor.
Yeah.
And you're originally from South Shore.
Yep, from Marshfield.
Okay, so now I asked them to do a little we had to get some photos because it makes a difference when you're a dog owner if we know who you are. So we're gonna press the PC8 button there, and we've got a little technology here. Okay, so. You're the proud owner of Brody, a 5-year-old Black Lab, and Harley, a 3-year-old Harlequin Great Dane.
She's our supermodel, yeah, around
Holy
town.
cow. That's her on the right, obviously.
That's Harley, yeah.
How big is she?
She is 160 pounds.
Oh
So I effectively think I got the seat as chairman because of the amount of weight I have in dogs.
Oh, does that matter? Size matters
well,
in
I think,
the dog?
300
okay.
pounds kind of puts me at the
Oh
top of the
my
list.
goodness. And so she's the baby?
She is
Sort
the baby,
of.
yep.
And
A lot of dog food.
It is.
that is a lot of dog food.
It's a bit, what, 30-pound bag every other week?
Wow.
Really?
Yeah.
You have to take out a second mortgage for that. Okay, that's great. Okay, so that's you up there just kind of lounging with your dogs. We just want. Okay, now we're just going to go back, hit the camera there. Okay, so now how did you get into this? Now your educational background is actually in public schools.
Actually,
For
business
primary-
administration.
And business administration.
Yeah. So I got involved in Some Dog, via Miss Michelle Bisco, who was actually instrumental in starting the organization back in 2004.
Okay.
And I was a dog owner a couple years later and saw these awesome things happening in the city with dog parks. And, we wanted to keep up with it and find new and creative ways to get the dog owner community involved. And when we, kind of established that, it took me some time thinking about whether or not I wanted to do it. And when I did, it just kind of happened.
So you're currently the chairman and the president of Some Dog since
Yes.
2012.
Since 2012, since November.
And you created a new board of directors.
I did.
So how many people does that require?
So we have 5 people on the board right now,
Okay.
and they bring a bunch of experience to the organization. So they kind of bring their day-to-day life into the volunteer world. So we have someone that does fundraising and marketing. We have someone
Okay.
who actually is a lawyer and does legal stuff.
Ooh,
so they kind of
wow,
watch
good
us.
person to have.
There's a lot of, and we stepped up the organization and brought it to 501(c) status so that we could actually get grants and we could start getting
wonderful.
donations to actually give back to the community.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're going to find out a little bit more a little bit later about your organization and its mission. But I'm just kind of doing a little wrap up. So that's like a little teaser, And Dennis, you've been on the show before, so I feel, but we're going to go through some of the basics because I think sometimes people need to, the new viewers at home. You grew up in a working class family in East Somerville.
Correct. My father was a bus driver, and my mother was a stay-at-home mom.
Fantastic. Graduate of St. Clement High School and Curry College.
Correct.
And you were elected at the Board of Aldermen in 2003.
Right, and before that, I served for 6 years on the Somerville School Committee representing Ward 1.
Okay. And you're one of 4 citywide, the Aldermen at large for the 7 wards of Somerville.
Correct.
Chairman of the Committee on Licensing and Permitting.
Correct. That's a
Okay.
very important committee. Anybody that needs a license to operate a business other than alcohol. A lot of people think when a new business comes in, an alcohol permit, it does not come before my committee, it's before the Alcohol Commission,
Okay.
which is appointed by the mayor. Some people make that distinction when they see a permit go through or an alcohol license go through. They'll call me and say, how could that happen? How could the license happen in Davis Square? Well, that doesn't come before my committee.
Okay,
It's
you don't
the
do
Alcohol
that.
Commission. So I always
The Alcohol Commission. No, that's
point
good.
that out.
So now you are one of the few aldermen. I love this. I love your mobile office hours, and you will occasionally see Dennis just kind of propped up in front of in Dunkin' Donuts on Highland Avenue. I always
That's
see you
right.
there. And so you've been implementing these just to provide the community with a greater accessibility to local government. And so, how many visitors do you get? I mean, is it kind of, do you have like seasonal operations?
It varies. If there's an issue going on in a ward, a zoning issue, a planning issue, they'll come out ready with their complaints, or, with
Yeah.
what they want to talk about, what they think should happen in their neighborhood. A lot of times people say they only see their elected official during an election.
Yeah, yeah.
But I do it year round. I do it in the winter. I go to the libraries in the winter. I've done at Super Stop and Shop office hours. Wherever I'm invited that I can get a table in there, I will definitely show up. And my dog Niller has been accompanying me to a lot of those office hours.
Wait, you know what? You just reminded me. We're going to roll tape if you can advance the, do that advancement. Yeah, I forgot. I apologize. Okay, so likewise, you send in our pictures. There we have your dog. Is it Nila?
Nilla.
Nilla.
Like vanilla, like Nilla wafer.
Like Nilla wafer. Now, do you like Nilla wafers, or does your wife like
No,
Nilla wafers?
Nilla was actually a dog that we rescued, and that was the name that she had, so we just decided to keep it. She seems to like it, and it can be a little
Look at her.
confusing to people. Sometimes they think it's Nila or Nyla, but it's
Nilla.
Nilla.
I like that. And now Nilla is now accompanying you on the mobile office hours.
Correct. She's good company.
I bet she brings more. I mean, don't take me wrong. I mean, I'm sure you bring a lot of people too, but like people are like dogs are magnets for people. So like, does it bring more conversation?
Definitely.
Notice an uptick
and I
since
think
you brought her along?
They see me out there. I'm a 6'1", 250-pound alderman, and I think Miller softens my image, if you will.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
what's up with the poodle I get sometimes?
The
and,
poodle.
It just worked out.
Oh.
It just worked out like that. Miller was a assistance dog, a trained service dog, and
Oh.
National Education Assistance Dog Services trained her.
Very intelligent.
And she was placed with a girl in a wheelchair. And I guess it didn't work out where she was placed.
Yeah,
And she
okay.
left. I worked my full-time job. I'm a sergeant with the Department of Correction.
Yeah.
She left the prison weighing 54 pounds, came back a year later weighing 47. And they put her up for
Wow.
adoption. They thought she might have been a little traumatized. And I took her home. It was a hard sell to my wife,
Oh my goodness.
Melissa, but she seemed to have
And
taken
there
to
she
her.
is.
Yes.
Oh my God, so adorable. Okay, now how big is Nilla?
Nilla's 51 pounds. right
Okay,
now.
so not quite as big as yours. 3 times. Yeah, that's crazy. That's a big dog. So
not as big as mine.
currently you reside in 10 Hills Road. Excuse me, on 10 Hills Road in Ward 4 with your wife Melissa Hurley.
Correct.
And then Nilla. Very cute. Okay, now we can switch back to camera. Thank you. It's always good to see people and their little doggies. Okay, so getting back to Some Dog. Organization built grassroots effort and is currently obviously the new leadership is you. So what is really your mission? I mean, I obviously spoke at the beginning of the show talking about how you wanted to build. It's really I mean, I think what I love about my dog, and I would maybe you guys feel the same way, is that it really builds community.
It does.
Because it's really this you're out there, rain or shine,
Yep.
morning, night, doesn't matter.
Well, so our biggest goal is getting involvement and is building community. So we're trying to build our volunteer base to give back. And what I had realized originally when I took it on was that people wanted to get involved and really didn't know how.
Yeah.
So we really focused this year on our membership and kind of getting people to kind of feel accountability. And we're seeing that with our cleanups where we support the city. So people are actually stepping up now and getting involved. And so that's really our mission. Our mission is actually to kind of really throw home the responsible dog ownership aspect of owning a dog and working with the city and, the neighboring community.
Especially-
I just want to point out, as,
Yeah.
as an alderman at large and a new dog owner, I want to congratulate your organization for the hard work. You have big shoes to fill. Michelle
Oh my
Briscoe
gosh,
has done
the biggest.
tremendous work, but I think
She
you've hit
has.
the ground running, and I want to congratulate you for
Thank
that. And I'm
you.
looking forward to bigger and better things. But
Thanks.
great job.
Yeah, you really have. I mean, there's been a lot of, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have them on the show, is because this event coming up. But I really do think this is such an important topic, because I think with Somerville being so dense, there's so many dog owners out there, and unfortunately there are irresponsible dog owners as well.
Well, and there's no space to run them, right? So when
Yes.
you have dogs that are in a city or in a dense population, you have to be able to
All the more reason
exercise
we
them.
will
Yeah.
definitely get to that in just a moment
That's
there. But I definitely feel, yeah, no, you're right. And I think one of the other things I noticed on your, when I was doing my little research, you want to be a go-to resource
Absolutely.
For dog owners in the city and neighboring communities.
So when you actually, when you buy your first dog or you have your dog and you're not aware of what to do or where to go, we kind of want to be that resource for you. You know, where do I get my dog license? Where do I, how do I actually use the parks? Where are the parks? Where are the resources? We want to be that resource for the community so that they kind of fall into the correct path.
Yeah, and then by doing that, you host events and raise funds to support animal control, vaccine clinics, spay and neuter programs,
It's putting
as
back
well
into
as
the community, right?
yeah. And so a couple of those events, just we can go over those. Pizza and pints for pups.
That was a fun event.
Yeah.
That was our first kind of membership draw. So we brought a bunch of folks over to Flatbreads, which does a night of fundraising. And we thought we'd be lucky if we got 20 folks to show up. And we kind of had it on the low key because we had just taken over the organization in November. And we had over 70 people show up, plus the restaurant filled up. And it was just it was a great night.
And you raised $2,200.
We did.
That's
We did.
impressive.
It was-
Congratulations.
Yeah, we heard that was probably one of the top fundraisers in Flatbreads, which was kind of
Wow.
nice to hear.
Really?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
So the dogs are actually invited into
can
Flatbread?
they?
Well, this
Yeah, I
was
was
a
just gonna
people
say-
event, so that's
Okay.
why we
A people.
promised we would do a dog and people event, which is coming up.
I've
With
actually attended an event that Michelle did down in Union Square in a bar room that they let the
Awesome.
dogs in. It was just something to see.
See, now here's the question, because there is this thing that I've been meaning to go to. I'm going to go do it next summer when it opens up. It's called Yappy Hour. It's in Boston. I can't really
That's
say where it
awesome.
is, but it's called Yappy Hour, and they have this open event where you can go with your dog and have a cocktail and
Right.
whatever. And I'm like, well, what a great idea. But how does that work? Do you know? I mean, because are they allowed to do that? Because I mean, there are obviously rules and regulations. You can't get into places where they serve food. So how do you get around that?
I don't think that could happen today. It happened early on in some dog. It was in Union Square, Fergal Tools Bar. I forget the name of it.
Okay.
It's something different now.
So-
and they had about 30 owners with 30 dogs. It was the coolest thing you'd ever seen in your life.
Right.
Everyone was getting
love
along.
that.
Well,
But I
there are
wouldn't have.
ordinances that stop that from happening
Right.
now. One of our initiatives actually is to kind of talk to local business owners to see if that's something they want to research, because we do see other cities like Cambridge and Boston conducting these yappy hours, by lifting ordinances.
I'm all for
Is
it.
that so?
I'm all
A
for it.
temporary lift of an ordinance. So in
That's
order
true.
for
So
us
it
to be
probably
able to
wouldn't be
do
in
that.
a space that you're eating, but if you're outside in a cafe, if you're walking by, and you've just exercised your dog, instead of bringing them home, it'd be
Yeah.
great to stop and have a drink.
Definitely.
Yeah, okay, so that it's, I guess what I'm, for the people at home, because I'm excited about that, even thinking about that, but it is possible, it just takes an organization to say, approach a business and potentially
Absolutely.
get the ordinance
and work
lifted.
and work with the local city, the
City
Board of
Hall, the
Health.
Board of
and,
Health.
yeah,
Okay.
so it's a collaborative effort.
The Committee
Okay,
on License and Permits.
Yeah. There's a
so,
lot of
yeah, there you go,
steps. A lot of
see?
steps involved.
I bring people together, that's what I do here. So quickly on the 2013 Spring Fling. Now this
Yeah.
is exciting, on May 19th, which
It's
I
pretty-
unfortunately cannot go to, I'm really bummed out.
We're very sad.
You have a beer bark garden.
We do.
Tell me about that.
We got Precinct to be a local sponsor of ours. They're known throughout the city as being dog lovers. Every single one of their staff, if you walk by with a dog, they will run out and greet you. They always have bowls of water for your dogs. So they were very excited to get on board and host this beer garden, so it's under their license. And we got Smutty Nose Beer to sponsor. So
nice.
you can't give away free beer, so we're actually helping it drive our initiative to raise money for animal control and to push our membership for the organization.
And so tickets, it's $20 for non-members, $10 for members, but I was told that space is limited, so people need
Yeah.
to get on the Bark Beer Garden if they want to go.
Absolutely.
Other activities in the show? There's a fashion show.
We have a fashion show that's hosted by River Dog, so our local boutique
Okay.
down the street is going to come in and have the
Nice.
dogs marching across the stage.
Uh-huh.
We're hoping to have some guest appearances from local city officials. We're also hosting, I think we're doing a nail. I just found out they're doing nails and brushing teeth. There's going to be a mobile groomer there that's helping
Wow.
kind of
Okay.
look pretty. And then tons of activities for kids as well. So we have face painting, we have a kitty corner, so it's a dog and kid-friendly event.
It's a dog and kid-friendly event from 10 to 2.
Yeah, it should be great.
That sounds fantastic. We did have some images there, but I don't necessarily, I mean, we can,
Do you want to go?
yeah, we just have a couple dog images. Could flick through there. Go through these quickly, and then we'll learn about off-leash. Okay, the fashion show's upper left. Oreo took part of the fashion show last year.
And that was at the Somerville Dog Festival,
He was a
which
hot
is
dog.
another foundation. And
Oh,
they
oops,
actually
okay.
support. No, that's great
Sorry.
though because it's actually similar. But we're all kind of sister organizations. We
Wanting
all
to-
have the same goal,
Same
which is
goal.
to And
Educate.
they're actually coming to our event too.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, Marianne Houston, lower left. You can't tell that it's a smaller image, but I tried to get
She's
her
a
on there.
big dog lover.
Yeah, and then you've got your,
sorry.
oh, that's okay. And that was your, sorry, technology. That was upper right, that was your event.
Pizza and Pints for Pups. We were with the two local brewers of Rapscallion who donated beer for that event.
Okay, and then now you're in the parade. Now, what parade is that? Is that Art
That's
Beat?
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day.
The Memorial Day
Yeah,
parade.
so we did the Memorial Day parade every year.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, next, if you
Sure.
look to the next one. Let's see what we got here. Oh, there's a cup.
That looks like a look-alike contest to me.
That's,
Oh, is
that's
it?
Officer. That's my neighbor Leo Martini with his bulldog Hunter.
We're
The
hoping
fact
he
that you
comes.
know that, that's great.
Yes, he's my neighbor. And
Okay, the look-alike. I
he
didn't
walks
know
by my
that.
house every day.
That is so funny. And then you can't see in the lower right, there's a dog jumping in the air, and I put that on because Oreo is a huge jumper. I've been trying to get him to jump and grab a frisbee, and he won't
Oh.
do it. He's got ADD, but
Well,
that's okay.
We have trainers that might be able to
Really?
help you.
Oh,
that are
maybe
part
I'll
of our
come.
organization. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
well, next year. I'll come next year. And then you've got the group. Is that the group
That's,
there?
that's
Is
for
that the size
cleanup
of
day.
it?
That's
okay.
not our. So we get numerous volunteers that help the city, and that was last year at our spring cleanup day. So we have
great.
people that love and care about the community, and that's what we.
Oh, and then we've got, no, this is perfect. And then here's the spring fling.
That's
Oh,
us.
look at that. So if you see anyone, whose dog is that?
That's
an
actually
impressive
Melissa
dog.
McHugh. She's a local dog.
Wow.
So Melissa's a trainer in town. She's coming and she's actually hosting the Kitty Corner educational pieces, and kids are going to be certified dog greeters at the end of this event.
Oh my God,
So-
that's
That's
adorable.
great. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna switch back. You just hit the camera right there. Okay, so now, Dennis Sullivan has been working on. Well, your career has been in public service, but right now you're putting towards some initiatives for off-leash dog parks in the city of Somerville for our four-legged friends at home. So. Tell me about that. Where is that based off of? When did you
Well, I actually
decide?
received a couple of calls from dog owners that were concerned they didn't have a place to exercise near their house. They'd have to get into a car,
Well, West
cause
Somerville's
much from
tough.
West Somerville. So, I started doing some research, and I looked into Brookline, and Brookline has a green dog program
Yep.
where they have off-leash hours at certain times at certain parks. And they looked at a different criteria to judge what park would work based on the neighborhood, the historical significance of the area they were in, noise, activities at the park that was
Absolutely.
being considered. So a number of things went into looking at from hours to hours of operation to the use of the park. And
they also ran a pilot to support, a free pilot where they kind of even tested the parks that they had
Identified.
Exactly.
So
Okay.
it was a real collaborative group effort, and I think that's what made them successful.
And so what did they find out? So they're now,
they have
it's
14,
implemented.
14 parks.
14 off-leash dog parks after hours.
Yes.
And what are those hours?
Off hours.
Well, not off
Yeah,
hours.
yeah.
And they
Off
have
hours.
evening hours in the winter. I think they
Right.
just do morning hours in the summer.
So
Right.
what would be a typical, like 6 a.m.? I think it was I thought 6 to 9?
Well, that's something I'd like to look at. That's
Okay,
something
has
that would meet the needs of the residents.
Okay.
And I don't want to make it too early because people are going to work or too late. It's something that has to be worked out with the neighborhood, with the public hearing.
And I think it's important to say that each park is unique. So each park, you have to really look at every one, and that's exactly that's the factor. I think the constituents in the area and what the park is used for.
Right, and if it
So
doesn't
it
make
depends.
sense from a safety standpoint,
Yeah.
Right.
then I definitely don't go forward. I keep hearing that. Well, what about this? What about a tot lot? If it doesn't make sense, then
Yeah.
it doesn't. Not every
Yeah.
park is going to be suitable for this kind of.
Well, Yeah, no, that's interesting you say that, because I'd have to say, okay, so we have 3 designated dog parks.
Correct.
0 New Washington Street.
That's the brand new park.
That's the brand new one. It's the long one that's got the obstacle courses. Right. Oreo loves that one.
A great example of how we beautified space in Somerville.
Otherwise, that wasn't
unusable space, right?
I mean, in a great location. As well.
It's a very popular one. And then there's the one on Summer Street near Union Square, Nunziato.
That was the first park.
That was the first one. That's a little tight in there. And then the Ed Leathers Community Park.
Correct.
On Skilton Avenue.
And it's right behind the high school. It's a small
I was going to say, okay, I know where that is.
It's way in the back in the corner, yeah.
Yeah, well, just based on those alone and getting to your point, like West Somerville is so dense. And, you know, I have gone to these dog parks, but there are times when that Somerville one, or excuse me, that Summer Avenue, I hate to say it, Summer Street, it's too crowded. And going there, it's actually worse because your dogs get all riled up. And, you know, if they have a little bit more room to play or just get around, I mean, I understand the noise, and I know there will probably be people calling or commenting on the show, but I do think that if a dog has a little bit more room to run, it would be wonderful if we could open up. But again, you're right, the proper analysis has to happen. Now, where exactly are things in terms of what you've proposed or what has been proposed? I know that it's in discussion.
Right. Right now, the item is in housing and community development, which is going to take a look at it. There are a number of hurdles to get over. Some people just are dead set against a dog park, and
some people are dead set against dogs.
No, I agree. But there are some good things about dog parks. Dog parks in a neighborhood can help with the public safety, can improve public safety, creating a use at different hours normally where something wouldn't be happening there.
That's actually a very interesting point.
Different sets of eyes and ears, and people police themselves around a dog park. It's just a safer place. I've never felt so safe as I do in a dog park.
Well, but I think it's because of the building of a community. I mean, where else would you stand in the rain every single day of the week? And I mean, I've met some of the best friends of my life doing that, and I think we're proud of our space, so we protect it.
Yeah. So as far as the analysis, so it's in discussion. Is there I'm not trying to push you for any dates. But I'm curious, is that so the end of the summer, or is there a certain, would you like to have this by, or does it just kind of whenever it happens, it happens?
The chairman of the committee, I believe, it escapes me which alderman. I want to say it's Alderman.
Ward 4.
Alderman LaFuente.
Okay.
So he'll set the agenda when he feels it should come up. When maybe some dog will be a part of that discussion.
We actually even started a petition with folks and started to reach out to the community, and we're going to have a survey pretty soon that we hope the entire community will be involved in, because we welcome the discussion and we will be part of the conversation. We have, within our group itself, a lot of education behind behavior. One of the biggest things that we really want to drive home is safety and recall clinics. If you talk to any trainer in the area, they'll tell you that getting your dog to come is probably one of the hardest things to do. So, we want to offer free clinics, and make sure that people are aware of that.
So what is actually, now here's a question, because I 100% agree with the initiatives, but what I would say is there are unfortunately dog owners that maybe aren't as in control of their dog. There's one thing about getting them to come, and that's important, but then there's other times where they're not as responsible dog owners, or how do you say this? In some of the dog parks, I don't know, is there a rule on a dog being spayed or neutered coming into a dog park? Because there's a definite energy or chemistry there that sometimes I get frightened going into dog parks when there's big dogs that people don't necessarily have control of and they're not spayed or neutered. It creates a different dynamic.
There is, your dog should be, and it is on our rules.
Okay.
There's that, and there's the number of dogs that you have in your control at one time is limited, because we do have dog walkers in the area too, and the safe number was, the ratio is 3 to 1. And we do have those posted as you walk into the parks.
Right.
So I think maybe the residents are looking at it from a standpoint of when parks are not properly used, because I think if a park is it has regulations and people are obeying the rules, I do think that they can, I don't say they be pleasant. They sometimes are a little stressful because dogs get into fights. But I'm just curious as what you've been hearing. I mean, you've said a couple, but what are the main concerns that people are having with obviously health and safety? But
well, number one, like on Summer Street, during the summer months, there's a lot of smell of urine, dog
Yeah.
feces. You know, I've actually put an order in with Alderman Taylor to put a new surface down.
We're excited
But
about
that-
that
Yeah.
conversation.
But that's a complaint that I hear a lot of times is the smell. Sometimes people will stay there a little later than they should. They'll pass the curfew.
Yeah.
They try to get their dog in for a run. A lot of people are busy now, working different hours and different things. They have different responsibilities at different hours.
A
And
lot of people aren't aware, and so I think sometimes it takes, there's a space I can go in, and sometimes it just does take somebody saying, hey. I mean, there's been times I've walked by a park and been like, it's off hours, you probably shouldn't be in there.
Right.
So here's a question: if we were to implement the open leash or off leash hours, how would enforcement happen? I mean, is there an idea behind it where, assuming more people would take their dogs to parks, et cetera, like, is the city looking at upping the enforcement,
Well,
which might ease the concerns of some of the residents
That's
at home?
another big piece of this puzzle,
Okay.
that we don't have enough enforcement officers in that.
Yeah.
So we'd have to find
Just rely on ACO, which there's only
Two.
one part-time, right, and one full-time.
one and a half.
Yeah,
One
and so-
part-time, one
Okay.
full-time.
So
Brookline
that-
has rangers that actually help support their park initiative.
And you think that that would definitely, I mean, because I do think that if there were more people enforcing the dog parks and things of that nature, maybe the people, it might,
Definitely, that has to be,
Help
that
them.
enforcement would have to be a part of that.
And that's part of responsible dog ownership too, in us helping get the word out there and make sure, we feel lucky to have, folks in office like you that are helping us live in a dense community with dogs, because it's a challenge. So, if you talk to anyone on our board or you talk to anyone in our group, we're appreciative of that. It's almost like driving a vehicle. It's some people
Yeah.
drive irresponsibly and some don't.
There are always
so,
gonna be those people.
we and that's why we take pride and want to give back. But hopefully, if it's launched correctly, then
Yeah.
it'll be okay.
So we're going to be wrapping up here in a couple minutes, so I just want to go over a couple things. I'm going to have on our website, it's going to have the www.somedog.org, your Facebook, Twitter, all that.
Awesome.
Of course, aldermansullivan.org, and your Twitter handle will be on our website as well.
Great. Make sure we're following them.
Closing thoughts. What do you guys find the biggest challenge facing Somerville when it pertains to dog ownership?
During this winter, I've never received as many complaints about dogs, people not picking up after their
Ugh,
dogs.
I know.
During the winter months, my wife and I would walk and we'd fill a garbage bag full of dog feces. So I think it's only a few people that are giving a lot of people a bad name.
Yeah.
That's true.
And that's something we have to overcome. When I'm down the dog park, if my dog does something and I don't see it, people down there let me know, hey, your dog just did something.
Absolutely.
And that's great.
They
I
should.
think we have
Everyone
to
should,
foster
yeah.
more of that.
Right, and I agree with that. I think it's making sure folks are responsible, knowing that feces does spread disease between canines.
Yeah.
So it's really important to get it off the streets and keep us clean.
responsible.
Yeah, I will say though that we're doing way better than South Boston. I don't know if you've been down there
Yeah.
walking around lately. It's a lot
Somerville,
cleaner.
we got room to improve, but we're doing well.
We're doing
Okay,
well.
so upcoming event, make sure that you guys check out the Spring Fling in Union Square on May 19th from 10 to 2, and the Bark Beer Garden.
Yeah,
Buy your tickets early.
Absolutely.
I'd like to thank our guests, Alderman Dennis Sullivan and Brian Davis, for coming on to Greater Somerville and talking to us tonight about the ever-changing dog culture in Somerville, the off-leash dog park initiatives that are taking form in City Hall, and the upcoming 2013 Spring Fling being put on by Some Dog on Sunday, May 19th. Don't forget to pick up your tickets ahead of time for the Bark Beer Garden, as space is limited. And on behalf of the Somerville dog community, I'd like to thank you guys for
Thank
all
you
that you
so
do
much.
for the four-legged friends of ours and making it a better place to be. And that does it for us tonight. That does it for us tonight. So thank you to the viewers at home for watching. Until next time, stay safe and stay informed. Good night, everyone.